This is modeling one in Blender. What we want to do before you do anything else, just so we're all on the same page, is go to File, load Factory Settings, and basically you just want to create a blank scene and open up so we can talk about the different elements you see and how to work with them. So first thing we're going to do is if you look down at the bottom, you'll see there's actually a little timeline. And if you hover the mouse over the line and you right click, you can do join areas, and then you get an arrow that shows which one you want to join with what. You want to go over the bottom one, which is the timeline for animation, click the left mouse button, and now that merges and that window is gone. You also want to grab over here and take this window and then make the outline a little bit more visible because we're going to be making a bunch of objects. The other thing is there's this toolbar. What we can do is if you hit the T key, that gets rid of that. If you hit the N, you get a properties window that comes up. And what we can do is turn off grease pencil, collapse that, collapse view, 3D cursor we want to keep. Now if you hold the right over this where these slashes are, the left mouse button, you can drag things up. View we don't need, item cube, and we move that always up to the top, so we know we have selected. Turn off motion tracking, transform orientation, that right there, and the other ones we're just going to leave alone for the time being. But what this does is it makes it easier to actually work with everything, and it's a good setup and layout. So at this point we have our default scene. The only other thing we want to do is I'm going to select light, hit X, and delete it. Select the cube, hit X, delete it, and select the camera and hit X, and delete it. Okay, so we're going to make a chair is what we're going to do. So let's open up the quad view, and I'm going to do add mesh cube. And basically you'll see when I create it, the dimensions are right here. So if I want, I can actually do 1 by 1 by, let's say, 5. Now I've made a leg. Now if I zoom in on it, it's in the center, which I probably don't want it there. The other thing is it's also currently called cube, so I can change this to leg 001. The other thing I can do is also go to its properties, and I'll collapse some of these, and toggle on wire display. And all that does is when it's not shown, you'll see it has this black line around it. And I just find that easier visually to see. There's no way to default that, but if you can turn that on, I would appreciate it. So let's go back. I'm just going to, okay, so we have this object selected. Now if I hit G for grab and go move it around, it's going to move, and I'm not going to have any precision. If I hold down the control key, it's going to snap in place. So the control key is your shortcut to basically toggle on and off the snapping. Now to duplicate the next one, I'm going to do Shift key and pull over and hold down, and you'll see now that it basically, I can click again and make that second one, and you can see because I didn't have the decimal point, it's creating another iteration of the leg. So let's do leg 1002, and we'll select the first one and rename it and call it leg 001. And there we go, we got the 2. So hold down Shift key to select both of them. Shift key to copy again. Control to duplicate that out. And now we have the legs of the chair all done. Next thing I'm going to do is add the seat. I'm going to start with a new shape. So I'll do add mesh cube. It's in the center of the world. If you accidentally click with the left mouse button, you get somewhere else. You can either go down to the location of the 3D cursor and zero that out, or you can go down to Object, Snap, Cursor to Center, and that will pop it back to the center as well. Now with this one, I'm going to move it up, and I can use Scale. Now I can use the Scale tool we talked about, actually pull and increase the scale in this direction. But I can also remember you can also hit the S key for scale. If you just do default, go in every direction. If you do an axis X, Y, or Z, so there's X, Y, now I can stretch it up in the Y direction. So you can use it either way. It's kind of up to you. The shortcuts are going to give you a little bit more efficiency down the road, so you might want to kind of get into the habit of doing that. Once again, I'm going to turn the wire off just so we have it, and I'm going to rename this object seat, and hit enter, and now I have my seat. For the back, there's a couple ways to do it. We're just going to do a simple way. So let's, from the right view, okay, we can do a border select. Now if I did a border select, you'll see it basically went through and it selected both objects. There's a setting which will or will not go through visible objects when you have it. So by default, you can see we have both of them. Now the easiest thing to do is to come in and basically do a copy of this. So if I do a Shift D, and now I bring copy, hold down the Control key to keep it constrained, push the left mouse button, and now we have basically that part of the chair all done. And we can call these if we want. We can call this back. And that one, yeah. And then for the last one, we can either grab the seat or we can just do another copy of one of these. Hit R for rotate, then hold down the Control key, and that will constrain it to 90 degrees. And then grab, move that up and over. Hold down Control to snap it to the center. And then I'm just going to scale it just a little bit, make it a little skinnier, and then move it down just a bit. And I'm just going to constrain it to the axis. Okay. And the only thing it looks like we have is we have this part sticking out right here. This, once you change the material, this is called Z-fighting. So you want to make sure that when you select the chair that it's either skinnier or it's wider. You don't want to do it kind of in between, so you don't want one exactly on the same surface as the other. And we Shift D one more time, grab, and add the back, and now we have a very basic chair. Now keep in mind, or cue, that if you look at the reference images, which you'll be doing for homework, the chairs are actually much more elaborate and there's more pieces. This is just to get you started. The final thing we need to do with this once we have it all done is to create an empty. So I'm going to do my object, snap cursor to center, and if I do that, I also probably want to do select everything, go in the front view and grab it, and let's see if we can get this close to the ground, and line up. And you can also double check and make sure the location, those types of things. I can do 0, but that's okay, and this is okay. Okay, so we have that set up. I'll go back to the camera, or user view, camera, perspective. Okay, we got the chair, and now I'm going to add the empty. So add empty on axis. I'm going to rename the empty chair, and I'll do .001. So if I copy it, I'll have more. And then I'm going to grab everything else in it. Hit enter to apply that. And I'm going to just do a D for border select, select everything. Make sure that I select the chair last, so it's highlighted. You'll see if you come and you hit, it's the one that's white. Control P for parent, object, and now if we grab the chair, we can see everything. And there's one item that we forgot, so I'm going to grab the back and then the chair, and do Control P again, object, and now let's add to it. And if we open this up, you can see all those items are under there. So that completes making the first chair. Okay, next thing we're going to do is make a bed. So we're going to hide this layer, and we're going to pull up a new layer and start over. And I'm going to go back to our quad view. I'm going to add a cube, and what I'm going to do with this is make it long and skinny. So I'll pull it up in that direction, pull it up in this direction, and let's grab it and constrain it so it goes up a little bit further. So this is going to be the foot of the bed. So I'm going to copy this again, hold down Control, move the copy down, make it a little skinnier, make it a little higher, And I'm going to switch from shaded view to wire view. Shortcut is Z for that, but it's also, you can pull it from here. And I'm going to make this a little skinnier. Now we have the two parts of the board. So the headboard, so this is the footboard, so this is the top, this is the middle piece. Now we'll add a leg, so I'll do add mesh cube, and I will grab this and constrain it to come over here. And now I need to increase the height of this, and move it up. And it's a little clunky. This is just basically for demo purposes. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of work on adjusting these and making them cleaner when you do your actual project. So now I want one of those on the other side. So I'm going to do Shift D and hold G and constrain. And there we go. So I'll get that one. Up. Control Z. Change this to grab. And copy. And okay, and then we'll grab this piece right here, Shift D, and now we have the footboard, at least part of it, for the bed. So next thing we want to do is we're going to add the slats that go across. So I'm going to create in one corner. I'm going to add another key. And then switch over to scale and make it skinny, and make it thinner than that, and make it skinny in this direction as well. And then drag and move and get it over here somewhere for a space. A little tall. Add and constrain and move it up. And get it in place. And it's okay that things are intersecting a little bit longer than the other. So now we have one slide in mission style, we want multiple, so I can manually copy over and over. It's a lot of work. So the easiest thing to do is to add a modifier. So we go over here in the properties window, and right here are the modifiers, the wrench. I'm going to add a modifier, and it's going to be the array. And then what it does is the array automatically enables you to copy things. So if I increase the count, see, I count more, and then if I increase the relative offset, it increases the spacing. So I can do this until I get this all the way across, and at this point, I can play around with adjusting it and getting it to where I like it, depending on what preferences I have. Also, if I decide I want to move it a little bit, I can shift it. Now, when you apply it, they'll all be the same shape, but for the time being, it's basically this one shape, and it's automatically generating these others. When I hit apply, basically then it's going to be a bunch of individual shapes. So if you want to modify all the shapes in a group, it might be easier to leave them that way until you have what you want. Okay, so I got that done, and let me just okay, so border select all this, and Shift D, and we will copy it out the bed. And now I'm going to take this piece right here, and I'm going to copy it, Shift P, rotate, hold down the control for the rotate, and move it over. And it looks like I might need to scale it just a bit. And possibly move it and just a little bit too. Okay, and now let's copy that. So we'll do Shift T. And that lined up. And then we'll have the basics of the bed. Now the headboard needs to be higher than the footboard. So we need to figure out how we can change that. We know that if we grab, maximize this, if we grab, I'll just change that a little bit in perspective. If I grab this piece and this piece and zoom out and switch over to move, And I pull this up, and then I can pull the headboard up high. Now these other objects I